Hello, Bible readers. It was on one of my first visits to a hospital where I met a family in the waiting room, found them, hadn't even seen the person who was ill yet, had never met these people before. And I get into the waiting room and, new, fresh, hadn't been ironed yet, pastor shirt kind of time as a pastor. And I was in the waiting room getting to know them a little bit. And one of the brothers is like, hey, we should pray. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what I'm trained to do. I'm the professional prayer, as though I have any idea what this all means. But I have a clue. I've trained, I'm ordained at this point. So getting ready, here we go. A little nervous. Again, I don't know these people. And he's like, and I'm about to pray like a spoken prayer. And he's like, Pastor, why don't we just recite the 23rd Psalm? And I'm like, I know it, but I don't know it like word for word. But silly me, I, of course, am like, okay. And we're holding hands. I'm like, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He leads me beside still water. I was guessing, right? I know all he leads me beside still waters, lies me to green pastures. I know when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, I know Psalm 23. I don't have it memorized. He graciously just spoke over me and kind of led the prayer for me. Great lesson, by the way, in, a couple things. Just never put a pastor on the spot quite like that. That'd be nice. But also, hey, Jason, when you don't know something, just say, I don't know. You want to pray the 23rd Psalm? Hold on, I'll go get my Bible. Thanks. And of course, in my old wisdom, this many years in, I know I'm happy to do that, to say, oh, well, let me go grab, or whatever, right? To say, I don't know. So a couple of reasons I share that story. One is, I think it's funny. The other is that this psalm holds a place in the Christian imagination, in the Christian practice, that no other psalm holds. There is no other psalm that a Christian family would ask for in a moment like that than Psalm 23. This is the one most asked for at funerals, best known among churchgoers. It has the most hymns that are written based on it. At First Lutheran, where I serve in Onalaska, Wisconsin, we have an enormous Good Shepherd stained glass window that makes this psalm become that much more meaningful. Because it's a favorite metaphor. It's this, the imagery it's vibrant, right? That's what makes Psalm 23 so effective. And lots of these poems that are psalms, that's what makes them work so well, is their metaphors are so strong. Well, this I don't think any of them are better than this. So God as shepherd is what the first 4 verses are about. God as host, like giver of hospitality. The whole psalm is a statement of the trustworthiness of God in the face of anything and everything that can happen in this life. In the first few verses, the sheep are speaking of their shepherd, a metaphor that gets taken up in the New Testament, the Gospel of John, most famously, where Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. Luke, in his 15th chapter, alludes to this kind of thing too. The only Bible study kind of thing I have to add here is that verse 3 starts, he restores my soul. Or maybe you learned it, he restoreth my soul, from the King James Version. That's not the greatest of translations, actually. Although that idea is beautiful, to have one's soul restored, that's not a direct translation to the Hebrew really at all. My Brueggemann Bellinger commentary quotes a book written by an S. Terrian saying he would translate it, he causes me to come back. And I love the concept behind this, like what this means. The idea is that as a sheep, I feel exhausted, like bone tired, because I've been roaming around in dangerous territory. I mean, imagine being a sheep wandering around every stone or over every hill, whether there is an animal about to eat you. That kind of bone tiredness is what verse 3 is trying to speak against, you could say. So imagine being bone tired because I've been roaming around in dangerous territory, but this good shepherd is so good that I feel safe. So completely safe that, and here's that translation, he causes me to come back. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. I mean, it's not a huge, psalm changing translation, but it certainly is significantly different than he restores my soul. I had a friend travel to the Holy Land, and she said that on their tour, they went to a place, and I saw the pictures of it. It was this like huge, rocky, craggy looking area where shepherds likely had to take their sheep. And it was obviously a dangerous, twisted, rocky valley. And she said the whole psalm made more sense than ever to her because the Holy Land has a lot of these kinds of spots. Then the psalm shifts hard from shepherd in those first 4 verses to host in verse 5. God provides strength and protection, as a good host would. God feeds, provides a healing ointment for any scrapes they might have gotten along the rocky paths. And then this idea of being graced with luxurious extravagance in the context of threat. Like there's danger, there's death, and you're just preparing a table before me in the presence of my enemies, which to me has always felt like God has a personality, like making a point, against the enemies. It's pretty solid. And then there is this last part about how goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And follow could be translated pursue, which I like even better. Goodness and mercy shall pursue me all the days of my life. To think of God pursuing us with goodness, with mercy, even though we might be running away from goodness and mercy, trying to run toward silly, dumb choices, and yet God's pursuing us with goodness and mercy. Indeed, this is as comforting a psalm as we're going to pray. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.